This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts.
Hi, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Asmodues. I use they, them pronouns.
And welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Wow, I was late on that one. I am so sorry. For those of you who are new or just joining us, we are a queer podcast.
Pun intended.
Talks about cannabis,
The LGBT community,
and everything in between.
and beyond.
So welcome.
Welcome.
Oh boy, I hope everybody had a great holiday season and a great new year. And we are officially back in 2024.
Wow. First episode of the new year.
And can I just say, 2024, wow. We started this podcast in 2022. You know that?
No. Doesn't
think-
seem like it's been that long.
I think it's 2022 or 2021. Let me go look. Actually, I can actually see when we started this podcast. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, September 20th, 2021.
Wow.
So we officially have entered the
Third year of the podcast.
third calendar year, yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. Wow.
So here's to another great year of
podcast.
queer stoners.
Yeah.
So this week, so the first review of 2024 is Strane's Hindu Kush 1 gram of their new High Terpene formulation. So this is a hybrid with 73.49% THC. Total terps are 12.59%. Highest one being terpinolene at 4.136, followed by myrcene at 2.897, limonene at 2.151, and then everything is 0.5 or lower. Or I'm sorry, 0.6 or lower. So I mean, still, that's a lot of terps.
You can taste all of them.
I can taste all the colors.
It is so tasty and so potent.
Oh yeah, a couple puffs and I'm golden.
I just had one more just to figure out, like, to remind myself how it tastes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, you can taste the terpinolene, you can taste the limonene in there. It's really nice and smooth. It's not harsh at all. Would say we're using the palm seed battery.
Yeah, we're using the AVD palm that I got, which I highly recommend if you don't have one. But that could be another thing. It doesn't have to be a review though, because I've been using this for almost a year now.
No, I just wanted to let them know, like, what battery we're using the card on.
The card is ridiculously long though for a 1 gram. It's almost as bad as Magnitude's 1 gram cartridges.
Who is that?
No, Matter. It's one of their side brands.
Interesting.
Kind of like how Terrapin has Double Bear.
Yeah, I've never heard of them though.
They're not the greatest carts. The tops always come off.
Oh boy, sounds like lab carts.
Yeah, almost.
Or maybe they have the same supplier.
Probably. But let's talk about this weed. I honestly, this Strane cart is really freaking good. It hit me, like I said, maybe under 5 hits, and I'm very toasty still. The flavor was really great. I'm not sure if this is how they extracted it or how they're getting the terpenes. I'm a little worried. Not saying they do this, but I have seen other companies do this. That they're adding floral terpenes, like terpenes from plants that aren't cannabis. Or they just have a very specific way of extracting it. Like they're taking the terpenes out and they're re-adding them back in.
There has been a lot of that recently. I feel like that has been the newest, I guess, thing that people are, the growers I've seen. God damn it.
Grower processors.
The growers I have seen are doing right now.
Yeah.
Is that they are making distillate cartridges, and then they are also they're making larger batches of these strains, and they're taking their normal batch out for vape cartridges, and then they're taking the excess and they're taking all of the terpenes out of those strains, and they're keeping them aside, and then they add them back into the distillate cartridges. But those are the same terpenes that came from the flower.
Yeah, no, that's been a thing for a while, because that's how, from my understanding, supercritical CO2 carts are extracted and made, is when they actually make the goop what they do is they take the terpenes out, let it actually process into a proper oil, and then they just throw it right back in.
No, what I'm saying is they separate. They separate it. Like they just take the terpenes out of the one batch and they just extract like the terpenes from the plant. They don't take like the oil and stuff. So they have literally a container of raw terpenes.
Oh, okay. So they're just using like a
Yes.
set of the plant from another set that they're going to use.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They use they make the cartridges as they normally do for distillate cartridges, and then they have that concentrated bottle of terpenes that they then go and add back into the batch of the distillate cartridges, and then they fill the carts up.
Okay.
And that's how Strane makes these. That's how Kinda just came out with their CDT, which is concentrate distillate cartridge. And then there's some other people that do that. I thought there were a couple more, but those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head that do that right now. Strane, I feel like, was first at the game, and these are definitely like, I feel like, higher quality than their like yellow packaged full grams. Have you seen those? Because those are the ones that I'm talking about. This, I'm not quite sure how they do this, because these do definitely seem a lot tastier, a lot like richer than the ones that they have in the other ones. But I don't know, maybe it's just that they're the better terpenes. These are the better strains. They grow like, this is like their Garcia flower level stuff, right? But for their carts.
I'm honestly giving this a 4.5 out of 5.
I am too. Oh my god. I know I've said time and time again, and I'll say it again. Strane has some of the best stuff in the PA market right
now. They're one of. I'm actually a little upset with their dispensary though.
Oh.
Can I actually, can I pull that into my next thing? Or for like my first topic? Instead of what I already have pulled up?
Yeah.
Because it's a good cutaway. Or segue. So I messaged Liberty recently, specifically Liberty, Pennsylvania, because we have been getting patients yelling at us at our store for not having things like flour at being like 35-40%. But apparently Liberty in Aliquippa is. And so during that day that happened, and one of my coworkers got yelled at for it, I looked at their menu and what they're doing, and I double checked it. They're not the only ones that's doing this, but what they're doing is, instead of having THC, THCA as a breakdown, what it's doing is, let me look at flour. And they did change this, because there was some that I saw that were recording at like 38, almost 40% THC. Which, first off, it's not THC, it's THCA. But here, we'll do this one. Is when you go to THC, it says 34.99 on this golden pineapple. But when you hit that little eye icon, it says this percentage may represent an aggregate of THC / CBD, THCA / CBDB, and THCB / CBDB.
So they're adding all the cannabinoids together with the THC, and that is not being transparent with your customers.
It's
patients.
not. And I'm going to blast them for this, because I mentioned this on, I connected with them and said, hey, we have a question, and why are you doing this? And they said, hey there, sorry, apologies for the confusion. Batches can vary in the amount of THC when produced, and consumers should review the actual product label for the exact percentage of THC for that particular batch. Which was not the question, because of what I said specifically was, hey, we have a question. Why are you showing THC as the total of combination of cannabinoids? The way it is on the site is very misleading and causes people to think that that is the amount of THC in the product, because cannabis cannot produce above 35% THC as a flower. Like it's very even hard for it to get there. If you see it above 33, 32, be iffy with it. If you see it above 35, you're adding something to it.
Yeah.
And so I responded, but the site is combining all the cannabinoids and together and saying it's THC. And then they said, though the website states that the percentage shown may be a combination of cannabinoids, most products will clearly show if other cannabinoids are representative. take example below, which they just screenshot 0.34 THC, which is from a menu on a different state. I had to do some deep diving on that one.
Jeez.
It is not through any of the menus on the PA sites. Also, feel free to give us a call. Blah 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 blah. And then after this, I ended up going to the Liberty in where we live.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll keep that aside for a second. So the thing with the THC and showing them all the cannabinoids, I think is very misleading, and it's gonna cause patients like this one regular who I really don't like, who always argues with me that they can make weed like cereal and just add whatever they want. They can make it 100% THC, which then it's not flour
Yeah.
because you have a giant jar of THC. That's all you have. And so,
but also, how cool would that be to have a whole jar of
oh,
THC?
right.
Damn.
But so, like, it's going to cause more patients like that, and then more patients not to fully understand what's going on, more patients looking for just the highest THC, even though, as we discussed on the show, THC is not the end-all be-all.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's all about the terpenes.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's the combination between all the cannabinoids and the terpenes.
Entourage effect, if you will.
So, also, I'm going to blast the Liberty that I went to now, specifically because I went there as a new patient, going through all the setup. They asked me, the questions: Are you a senior? Are you on Satan? Are you on Medicare or Medicaid or whatever? I don't think we got to that point. They literally said, "Senior, do you work in the industry?" I said yes, but I think the veteran discount is a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And like, cool, do you have proper documentation? I don't have my veteran status on my ID, mostly because I don't use it a whole lot. I mostly use it for weed. Because I don't really feel like I should, in a way. But also because I don't really like the whole thank you for the service, all that attention and everything.
Well, you know how I feel about that. You serve this country. That's the least they can do. Give you a free coffee at get-go, or get you a discount, or I don't know.
But I don't like using it to my advantage a lot.
You should though.
I know.
They use you to their advantage.
Yeah.
So.
But so I go in, right?
Yeah.
And this person who's apparently training the intake or admin position person, the person that scans your card and gets you all checked in. They asked me if I had my status on my ID, which I don't. But I had brought in a copy of my DD-214,
mm-hmm.
which, for those of you who don't know, that's the separation paperwork for the military. So it has where I was living at the time, where I was recruited out of, where I was stationed. Like, literally, it pretty much shows where I went from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And like who was in my commands and everything. So it also shows why I was discharged. If I can come back, here's a reenlistment code. Here's the status of the discharge. Here's the code that represents why this person was discharged. That has more information than a little flag that says veteran underneath on my state ID. And so I bring that in because, like, again, I don't use it a whole lot to my advantage. And the person behind the counter that was training the new person was grilling me unnecessarily. And I'm like, dude, I'm tired. I get very socially anxious around people I don't know. This is not a fun time for me right now. Back off. I didn't say any of that, but that was what was going through my head. And he just kept like, oh, what company were you a part of? I was like, I was in the Navy. I wasn't part of the company. And I was just like, why are you grilling me for no reason right now? Like, I have the proper documentation.
Why is it any of your fucking business anyway?
That too. And I'm just like, boo this person. Boo this person. But yeah, no, it was not a fun time. When I got to the counter, though, the person that rung me up was very nice and everything, so I do appreciate them. But yeah, that person that was training the other person was just no, screw that person.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who don't really like everyone to know. You know what I mean?
There are people that have PTSD from being a veteran, and you're asking them all that kind of shit?
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. There was no thought put into that.
No, I don't know. I'm sorry. I took a big chunk of there just going on that little rant.
No, you're good. You're good.
Do you want to bring up your topic?
Yeah, sure. So,
Because I'm very excited about this one.
Wait, this one you're excited about?
Oh, both of them, technically. It was more the mushroom one, though.
Oh, well, this one, the first one. I saw and I was like, I don't know. But the DEA confirms that it is reviewing the marijuana rescheduling information. This was posted on January 4th of this year. As of recording, it is the 8th, so it was 4 days ago. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration is currently, quote, conducting its review of an earlier recommendation that the agency reschedule marijuana. A DEA official recently told a federal lawmaker the potential rescheduling of marijuana started with President Joe Biden's October 2022 executive order that federal cabinet level agencies re examine the drug status under the U.S. law. Biden's edict led to an August 29th recommendation by the Department of Health and Human Services that the DEA should move marijuana from its current status in Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substance Act. Now, we have already aired our concerns about this before on this podcast. If you have not heard this, go back and listen to those other episodes. It's probably somewhere in the title because it's really important.
Yeah, it's just... Ugh.
And such a move would unlock significant federal tax reform for beleaguered? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, beleaguered
legal cannabis businesses, and also likely advance other federal marijuana reform efforts. But before any of this can happen, the DEA must propose a change to the federal law after due consideration. And that consideration is ongoing. Michael Miller, the DEA's lead liaison to Congress, wrote in December 19th letter to U.S. Representative Earl Blumenauer. Ultimately, the DEA has, quote, final authority to schedule, reschedule, or deschedule a drug under the Controlled Substances Act after considering the relevant statutory and regulatory criteria and HHS's scientific and medical evaluation, Miller wrote in a 3-paragraph letter. Just basically saying they're conducting the review. They didn't have a timeline. They're urging the Biden administration to reschedule it before the end of 23 had already passed. That didn't happen, obviously. Elections nearly upon us. Biden-Harris administration is completing formal review of the scheduling. President Biden should keep in mind that no one has been penalized by voters for their embrace of cannabis reform, noted Blumenauer, whose co-chairs the House Congressional Cannabis Caucus. Blumenauer, a longtime cannabis advocate, said that he will retire when his congressional term ends on January 3rd of 2025.
No, I want to say one major thing with that is the HHS wants it to be Schedule 3, and my thing is I want, and a lot of us want, who actually know and use cannabis, wants it completely descheduled.
It needs to be descheduled. It's a freaking plant.
Like, if they, and we've said this multiple times, if they want to regulate it, just throw it on under the ATF. You know? That's exactly, treat it like alcohol. That's all we've been saying.
Yeah.
And my thing is, it has been proposed to the DEA before. And so, more than likely, based on the DEA's track record, they're just going to keep it where it is.
Yeah.
Because the DEA and the FBI use cannabis as a way to get to the bigger people and to lock up people that they have issues with.
And to fill prisons because they're for-profit prisons.
Prison system, yeah. And it is unfortunately more, the likelihood of people of color is way higher.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also that.
The whole war on drugs is just racism.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say they were the way the current DEA, like those who are the heads of DEA right now, are kind of seeming the possibility of it going Schedule 3 has to be rescheduled as Schedule 3 or even any change. is higher than it has been in the last few years. So I'm gonna percentile. My guess is 70% likely it's just gonna stay where it's at, and 30% that is gonna change, which is really high for the DEA. I'm going to say, because hell, even before the HHS report, it was probably like at most like 5%. For change. So, and this is just me spitballing, but it seems very unlikely.
Yeah, pretty unlikely. But the amount of people who have considered it seems like more than you would think.
Heck, even most of the Congress, hell, even just shifting gears to like state level for us, the likelihood that PA is going to go wreck, or passing a bill to go wreck in 2024 seems higher, because a lot of this state went blue between local to all the way up elections. So like there was a lot more cannabis, specifically cannabis supporting politicians across both sides that got elected, and a lot more Democrats controlled the House and the Senate.
I mean, even some of the Republicans that are there are for cannabis because they do see the benefit that the money could be to the state, and they are. I mean, they're in it for the money and the state and the local government stuff. But I mean, they're in it for legalization, so it's going to be legalized. They're there for it. It's just a lot of that also too goes back to when we do make it recreational in Pennsylvania. Where is that money going to go? How are we going to tax it? What is that taxes going to go for?
Definitely the fucking roads.
Please. Operation Pothole.
Yeah. That reminds me, I don't have the article because the news thing wouldn't let me like re-look it up for some reason. I hate it when newspapers do that. Yeah. But in Delaware there was a program, and I think it was called Junk for Joints or something like that, where they were allowing people to volunteer their time to pick up junk across Delaware, or maybe it was in a specific spot of Delaware. I can't remember, but they were allowing them to pick up trash for joints.
I love that.
And I was thinking about that because at where I work, there's a lot of litter. It's near a big roadway, and I'm not gonna say where it is just to keep from us getting accidentally doxxed in one way or another. It's by a big area with a lot of traffic, I will say.
Yeah, it is heavily trafficked.
And so there's like this, because Pittsburgh, a lot of hills and mountains and stuff. There was this giant like wall, like a retaining wall almost, and like one road goes down. Trash. I mean, it was covered in trash. We started picking up our parking lot and the side of that hill on our side. And for a while, because we used to live real close to this place too, even before I started working there, we would see nobody at the other areas picking up the trash, right?
Yeah.
After we started doing this, the other areas started actually hiring people to do that.
I love that.
And I'm thinking, yeah, because we were making you motherfuckers look bad because we were the only one that didn't have trash on the hill.
Exactly.
So yeah, and like even with the like raining and stuff, we'll pick up trash, and we make the joke. It's like, oh yeah, the lazy stoners.
They're picking up the trash.
Are they don't do anything because weed makes you being okay with being bored.
If anything, I end up cleaning the house when I smoke. Because I'm like, I need to do something. I'm going to do stuff.
Especially with something like this.
Yeah, with terpenoline in it. Yes. I'm going to go, when we're done with this, I'm going to hang up the curtain rod in the front room and put the rainbow curtains up. Because I feel like I can. I already brought the step stool down.
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Found the screws too.
I'm trying to think. I don't think either of us have, because we got about like 5 minutes left. I don't think either of us have a topic that we have preset aside that'll be for 5 minutes.
Not really.
No. Is there anything you want to add about the weed we're on? Things we already talked about? Any little small blurbs you want to share with class?
I really like this cart. It's good. It's a good cart. You did get your other one stuck in your battery before.
Yeah.
You had to get the needle nose out.
Well, that's because I that was my fault. I was screwing it the wrong way.
Oops.
You know. It happens at times.
Oh boy. I actually put a staff pick. I put a Strane staff pick on our menu.
Yeah, you were telling me about
City
that.
OG, yeah. The Citrus City OG full gram Strane cart. I love Strane stuff.
I really want to. Hopefully this year we can do a little more travel. Like I really want to go to Michigan and try some of their stuff. I want to go to Maryland, try some of their stuff.
Hell, when Ohio gets their shit figured out, we can just drive over there.
Yeah, that too. Because we're like,
go to Maryland, I want to get crab and weed.
Well, we got to drive a little longer for that.
Okay, we'll go to. Is there one on the boardwalk?
No, there was one near the boardwalk in New Jersey.
Yeah, Maryland should have a dispensary on the boardwalk. Get on that, Maryland. Ocean City, Ocean One dispensary.
There might be one there. I don't know if there is or not.
I'm gonna stay at that hotel again. That Ocean One's so good.
Yeah,
it's a good little hotel. Yeah, little high rises. Each little room has a balcony. I look off into the ocean.
All right, so it looks like it's gonna be about that time for our break. We'll be right back after a message from our affiliate program. Pretty in pink and purely wood pulp derived, Blazy Susan pink rolling papers and cones will add a pop of color to your next smoke sesh. Their classic pink papers are naturally dyed, vegan, GMO-free, and food safe. They contain no amounts of heavy metals or pesticides unlike other paper producers. Care about what goes in your lungs with Blazy Susan papers and cones. Use promo code BGSOTC20 at checkout to get 20% off with your friends at Smoking Out the Closet. Plus, get free shipping on orders over $50 in the United States. And we are back, and I have an update from the break. So somebody from Liberty called, explained the situation. Actually makes a lot of sense now. It was kind of a misunderstanding between staff and like third-party stuff. So I'm giving them a shot again after this episode. They hooked me up with a really nice deal that they didn't have to do, but I really appreciate that they did. So I'm going to go back to Liberty.
I, especially after that interaction, because I was here, I witnessed it. I stand by my statement that Strane is the best in the industry in Pennsylvania, and you cannot change my mind about that. Anytime anyone asks me, shameless promotion for them. Anytime anyone asks me, they're like, they're like, I know that they like you to say certain things, but what is your honest opinion?
Yeah, don't tell me your house brand shit.
Don't tell me your house brand stuff.
Unless it is
actually good, yeah. Who is your favorite? And every time I say Strane.
Strane is up there for me. It's Strane, Terrapin, and some of the Verano stuff. Yeah, I'll honestly say.
The Pablo's Revenge card is good.
And some of the flower, when it's good. The problem is, when it's good, it's great.
And when it's bad, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, but that blueberry muffins real quick. Verano, if you find a batch of blueberry muffins from Verano right now, holy shit, it just, even through the package, smells like blueberries, and it is so good. Get a hold of it, because it has a decent amount of, I think, myrcene, like 1.4% myrcene in it right now. It's really nice.
And get the Chem Dog 91 too. That's a really good one from them. Whose turn is it for topic? I can't remember.
I just did my DEA weed.
Oh, okay.
So it's your turn.
So this article was written December 27th. So we're a little out of date with this one. But I still thought it was really big because the law was originally supposed to go into effect January 1st this year. A federal judge blocks Ohio gender-affirming trans care ban.
Good.
A federal judge has preliminary blocked an Idaho law banning gender-affirming health care and treatment for transgender people under the age of 18. The law was originally set to go into effect on January 1st, 2024, which would have made it a felony to provide such care. Now, there are lawyers already after this article was written that are trying to, because you can actually veto a veto, and some of them are trying to actually go against it and everything and try blocking the veto. But it doesn't look like they have enough to actually get that through.
Good.
The person responsible for this, District Court Judge Lynn Windmill, ruled on Wednesday, when this article was written, that the law's restrictions violates the Due Process Clause and the Equal Protection Clause under the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Quote, transgender children should receive equal treatment under the law, Windham stated in his decision. Parents should have the right to make the most fundamental decisions about how to care for their children. He continued, time and again, these cases illustrate the 14th Amendment's primary role is to protect disfavored minorities and preserve our fundamental rights from legislative overreach. And it is no less true for transgender children and their parents in the 21st century. House Bill 71 was signed into law by Governor Brad Little in April. The law bans puberty blockers, which allow children to explore their gender identity and pause the growth of their permanent sex characteristics, hormone therapy, as well as surgery, which, as we said time and time and again, minors don't get surgery.
No.
Physicians interviewed by ABC News have said that the surgeries on adolescents are rare and only considered by case-on-case basis, which, can happen. But the problem is cis girls can get boob jobs at 16.
Yeah.
How's that legal? And trans care is not. Makes no sense.
No.
It makes no sense. It's one of those legal for me, but not for you kind of thing.
Bullshit is what it is.
It's bullshit. It's hypocritical.
Hypocritical bullshit. The worst kind of bullshit.
Exactly. The one that I refuse to stand for, which is why I'm sitting. What?
I love you.
I love you too. That British style humor gets you
every time.
Do you want to do yours? I have a little one we can do.
Yeah.
Do yours or the little one?
Do mine. Sorry, I got distracted. There was a piece of glitter on my foot. It was blue. It was really pretty. I know it was Mia's. All right. My other topic is from Marijuana Moment. Our friends over there. This was published on January the 2nd. I don't sign up for the email. More states set to legalize marijuana and psychedelics in 2024 as federal cannabis scheduling review concludes.
Hell yeah.
From local ballots to Capitol Hill, 24 shaping up to see another drug policy reform push that again puts laws around marijuana and psychedelics in the spotlight as advocates work to leverage continuing momentum. While there will be significant attention on presidential politics in the lead up to the November election, the stage is already set to advance cannabis and psychedelic reforms, both through the ballot and in legislations across the country. Marijuana legalization for medical or recreational use is in play in at least half a dozen states for 2024, and activists will also be pushing to end the criminalization of ethogenic substances like psilocybin, while paving a pathway for regulated access. At the same time, efforts to pass a bipartisan marijuana banking bill will again rear up next year, and advocates are hoping that the DEA will complete its review into the cannabis rescheduling, which is what I had just talked about prior. What are you doing, Marijuana Moment? Come on. Okay, good.
Their website being weird?
It freaked out and took me to an ad. All right. That the DEA will complete its review in cannabis rescheduling following the U.S. Department of Health Human Services recommendation, the HHS, to move it to Schedule 3 under the Controlled Substances Act. Yes, we already talked about all that.
So basically, a lot of states are rearing up to go wreck with a lot of things and push for more psychedelic based therapies. Like, I know there's a vet that I follow on TikTok who is using is part of the ketamine therapy program for PTSD.
Interesting.
It was the doc. It was the medic. It's awesome shit. Don't blame him. But I would love to see how his experiences are on ketamine.
Some interesting things about ketamine.
Yeah, so have I. Not all good.
No. Going back to the article, meanwhile, the stage is set for Germany to become the largest country in Europe to legalize cannabis in 2024. Nothing is guaranteed, but with public sentiment increasingly favoring reform and pressuring building on lawmakers to act accordingly, there are plenty of potential for productive 2024 in the drug policy space. Here are some of the top marijuana and psychedelic stories to follow, and then it just goes into other things that you should probably read about. Hawaii has proposals to advance both chambers in the Hawaii legislature in recent sessions, and the Senate vote approving reform legislation in March of 2023. Expectation is the issue will be settled in 24. New Hampshire is up there for marijuana legalization. Pennsylvania set to take the marijuana legalization in 24, aiming to overcome legislation barriers that block the reform. Shapiro supports legalization, which we already know. After, of course, always after the neighboring Ohio policy change. I still can't believe they beat us to it. That is upsetting.
Hey, I take it though, because the people did it and they got abortion rights on the Constitution. So you know what? I ain't even mad. I'm impressed, Ohio.
Yeah, good job, I guess.
I would be more sore if we lost to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Because then we're just hotboxed.
South Dakota is also up there. Nebraska.
I mean, not much else to do besides grow corn and get high.
North Carolina. Bill to legalize medical cannabis in North Carolina passed in March 23. It's stalled out in the House. South Carolina is trying to have medical cannabis. Wisconsin for medical cannabis.
We should just legalize it across the board
Honestly,
at this point.
And then it goes into talking about the article that I just talked about last.
The first article you
The first article. I did not plan that, but that was cool. But the first one went into the second one.
So one of my next topics is now that we're in the year 2024. Hit more of that cart.
I'm loving this cart.
There's a look back from NBC's Out and Proud, 19 celebrities who came out in 2023.
Okay.
And some of them I totally didn't even remember was 2023. So Noah Schnapp, one of the Stranger Thing kids, came out as gay in a January TikTok video of last year. Bella Ramsey, star of Game of Thrones and currently The Last of Us, came out as gender fluid in an interview.
Nice.
Jakub Jankto, who is a soccer player for Calgary, came out as gay. Alison Brie of Freelance and Glow shows came out as bisexual in February.
Okay.
Monique, who we talked about before on the show and who we really like, came out as queer in her Netflix special, My Name is No Meek, which debuted in April.
Nice.
Which, what a way to fucking come out, just in front of an audience like that.
That takes balls.
Chloe, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Veitch, star of Too Hot to Handle, came out in April with an interview as bisexual. Love, the singer-songwriter for I Like Me Better, came out in TikTok. as
And now that song is playing in my head
Bye.
now. I like me better when I'm with you.
Yeah, I think they were either Bye or Pan. It doesn't quite say, but they are quoted saying "Love is love is love,"
Aw.
but it's their name. Miss Benny of the Netflix show Glamorous came out as being a transgender woman. Adore Delano, one of my favorite drag performers from RuPaul, also came out as transgender, which you remember when that came out, and I was like, because it's Jinx Monsoon, Adore Delano, Trixie Mattel, the top three, right off the bat. Shinjiro Ate, a Japanese pop star, came out as gay at a fan event in Tokyo.
Oh, cool.
Gabby Windy, former Bachelorette, thank you, star and Denver Broncos cheerleader, revealed that she is in relationship with writer and comedian Robbie Hoffman. Instagram post saying several pictures of the two of them together, and Gabby cheekily wrote, "I told you I'm a girl's girl."
Aww.
One of our favorite improv comedians, Wayne Brady, from Whose Line Is It Anyway? And Let's Make a Deal, came out as pansexual.
I forgot that was this year.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Or last year, technically.
Last year.
Yeah,
I
2023.
I was like, oh my god. Well, I still find him attractive, so Wayne Brady.
So this is funny because it only says the one show. But Sex Education and Doctor Who star Nkudi Gatwa came out as queer in an interview with LEUK in August.
Also, real fast, talking about Doctor Who. The trans representation
in Doctor
Who. I know it's there. I haven't gotten any spoilers. I'm very happy that I haven't found any spoilers yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so fucking
excited. Joe Locke of Heartstopper, that show Kira likes to watch. Mm-hmm. Says publicly plays an openly gay teenager, but did not publicly discuss his sexuality until August. He told the magazine he can't recall when he first knew he was gay, but he's been openly gay since 12. Sufjan Stevens, the singer-songwriter, posted in October about his late partner Evans Robertson, who he dedicated his album Javelin to. Jay Jolie, another RuPaul's Drag Race contestant from specifically from season 5, came out as transgender as well. Jay Flores became the NBA's first out non-binary and transgender referee after coming out in October.
Oh, cool.
Karen
Brar?
I'm so sorry for butchering. Who starred in the comedy of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, like the best friend, and Jesse. Came out. Let's see. Here we go. Came out as bisexual. Billie Eilish, which we all fucking knew this. Said in an interview she was surprised when she found out people didn't know she wasn't straight. Describing that she was attracted to women in a November interview with Variety, saying, "Women, I'm attracted to them as people, and I'm attracted to them for real."
Everybody knew.
Everybody knew.
Thank you for confirming it.
But that was the last one.
I didn't know that she officially came out.
I didn't know it was a secret.
It wasn't. I mean, she thought it was, I guess. Just something she didn't talk about. Everybody else did.
Well, it's like David Bowie. It's like
you just kind of know.
Yeah, you kind of just But
I did look up. Also, it was their birthday today.
Which happy birthday, Bowie.
Happy birthday, Bowie. That I did think, I was like, I didn't make up that they used they them pronouns in the 70s, right? Because everybody comes out at like they them pronouns like it's new, and I'm like, some of you grew up with David Bowie, and they referred to themselves with they them pronouns in the 70s, and I'm just like, yay, yay.
Speaking of gay stuff, my next article, this is from ABC News, talking about the Pentagon states they're beginning new push to help LGBTQ veterans kicked out of the military. So I didn't actually fully read this article, but I did want to talk about that. So I'm going to read a bit of the article and then talk about what's in the article. Former Navy sailor Annie Reyes, seeing the words on paper still sting. Quote, reason for discharge, homosexual conduct. We were in Bahrain in the middle of the ocean, and they're like, this is the perfect time to kick someone out for being gay, Reyes, 40, said of her 2009 dismissal against the USS Baton under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. Which, yeah, that was a huge thing. And it's weird to look at now, like even today, where there's drag performances on U.S. ships being performed, and being totally accepted, and the secrecy of the Navy and just the military in general before when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was implemented, because it was a total ban, and I think the ban was put in under Eisenhower or I don't think it was FDR. It might have been FDR's presidency. It was either between FDR, Eisenhower, or Hoover. I can't fully remember right now, but it's about that ballpark. That anybody working for the government at all in any facet will be kicked out based on homosexuality in any way. And then it was during Bill Clinton's administration where Don't Ask, Don't Tell was implemented, and saying, look, you can serve, we're not going to bar you from serving, but you can't be out. You can't be open about it. And then it wasn't until fast forwarding to 2013 during the Obama administration, or no, not even 2013. Wait, when was Don't Ask, Don't Tell? I want to say it was 2013.
I can't quite remember. I do remember it happening, though. Like, it not being a thing anymore. I do think it was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
During the Obama administration.
It was during the Obama administration, but it was 2011 when it ended.
Oh, okay.
It was effective from February 28th, 1994 up to September 2011. So yeah, 17 years.
Wow.
And it was horrible. And I still, when I went in, I still felt the effects about it, because I remember sitting on a couch with two friends of mine. We're all three guys. I was a guy at the time. I identified as a guy at the time. And we made a joke that we were like in sync. Bye, bye, bye.
Oh my goodness.
And you could see some of the art, like some of the higher ups being like, either they're uncomfortable with it, or they're like still like, if they're like, they're so used to be like,
yeah,
don't be so loud about it. But like, they were in the military when Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Some of them were around when it was implemented. So it's a lot,
Yeah.
Going back to the article, even now I don't qualify to get my full benefits because I didn't get the chance to serve the 4 years, said the former electrician's mate and married mother of two in an interview. There are so many people that this happened to that it's ridiculous. More than a decade after Congress ended the military's ban on gay service member, Reyes and thousands of others LGBTQ veterans like her are still fighting to restore their dignity and obtain full access to veteran benefits like healthcare, home loans, college tuitions that they were denied after less than honorable discharges, which is true. I know there's a story of someone who was discharged for that. No, it has to be after FDR because they were discharged or during FDR, so they were discharged during the Second World War. They fought at Pearl Harbor, saw the Arizona get attacked, and was discharged for being gay after serving and fighting in that battle.
Good grief.
And I don't, because this was like the podcast I listened to, like the Storytime caravan thing. It like goes around the states and it like has people tell their stories and share theirs, and they make animated versions. And if I could recall correctly, I don't think he made it to see Don't Ask, Don't Tell get removed. I don't think he lived that long, which is sad.
That is sad.
But because of that, a lot of people don't receive their benefits and everything. Still to this day, there are people fighting to receive their benefits, even after serving over 4 years, even after receiving a Purple Heart. And if they find out they're gay, even after like post-service, some of them lost their benefits when they came out that they were gay.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No. It is horrible.
It is. Absolutely horrible the way that America treats their veterans.
Oh yeah, here, look. Continuing with this article, an estimated 100,000 service members since World War II were kicked out of the U.S. military because of their sexual orientation, officials say, including more than 13,000 under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy between 1994 and 2011. Some received honorable discharge, the military's designation for satisfactory service, and the key to unlocking a full spectrum of benefits, but many received lesser designation with added stigma of their sexual orientation documented as a reason for removal. It wasn't really any significant victory to Don't Ask, Don't Tell's final repeal, but that wasn't the end of the story. There's so much work that needs to be done, said Dana Montallo, an attorney and instructor at the Veterans Legal Clinic at Harvard Law School. While many of the most valuable veterans benefits are administered by the federal government, states also extend financial and educational perks for military service. In both cases, benefits are dependent on a veteran's official discharge status as recorded by the Pentagon, which is true. And you have some people who are disabled and need help with that, and like a lot of elderly patients or vets who use TRICARE to get their medication. Because some of that fucking medication, like one of them ends up with diabetes, that fucking medication is expensive. Doesn't matter if it's type 1 or 2. Type 1's worse, but type 2 stuff's still expensive. So, like, I'm glad they're fixing it, but it is one of the bigger cracks in the already broken ass veteran care system that our government has. Because we can throw $1 billion at fucking Lockheed Martin to make us shit, but we can't take care of, the people that we're in.
No.
Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't think so. Excuse me.
Let's see if... That's all I had.
Okay, well, I mean, we're at like 4 minutes left.
Okay.
6 minutes. I can math.
Yeah.
4 minutes. No, yeah, 4 minutes. By the time I figure this out, it'll be 3 minutes. Anyway, we're close to the end.
Yeah, so that'll be a good place to stop, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, this has been it. This has been the episode.
So once again, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Asmodues. I use they, them pronouns.
So we'll see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.